So we have a lot to talk about today. Of course, we're going to go over that Octopath Traveler 2 demo, and we're going to go into some of the highlights for me of that new Nintendo Direct, and we're also going to do the Sale of the Week video. All of that is going to be compressed into this one video. The Direct from yesterday was amazing. It was really awesome, and it went my vibe, which is more like instead of waiting a half a year for something, it's just going to be released. We're just doing a demo now or whatever. We're going to have access to something instead of that game that we've been playing for so long of hurry up and wait. The problem is when you have your work kind of mapped out for the week, and then your boss comes in and just drops a whole bunch of work on your desk, and you gotta reevaluate how you're gonna do things, and that's basically why we're doing like 3 videos in one today. But I'm excited for it because I love all that stuff. Now, just briefly, I want to say that Sea of Stars also had a demo out, but I'm not going to be covering that. In fact, if you want to check it out, there's a great review of it or a great look into it at Switch Corner. Alex from Switch Corner does an amazing job of just kind of breaking it all down. For me personally, it almost detracted from my want for the game. So I think it's important to, go check out his channel and check that review out for the demo. On to Octopath Traveler 2. Now, why was this demo so cool? Well, I wanted to check out the interactions that you have between different characters and to understand the banter. You see, I loved Octopath Traveler 1. My only issue with it really is that none of the characters really seemed to be very emotive. And the characters didn't really interact with each other at all. It was like, hey, I'm traveling along with these other people, but I'm gonna pretend like they don't exist? It's very weird in that regard. But honestly, that was the only thing to complain about with that game. And, even at that, the game was still fantastic. Now, I can tell you from the demo, you don't really find out how they work with other characters, which for me was a little bit of a letdown because that was one of the main things I wanted to check out. But there was some introduction at some new mechanics that we haven't seen before. There's a new battle mechanic where you're almost given like a limit gauge, and when you've taken so much damage, you then can be able to do your special moves without actually costing any SP, which I think is incredibly important in this game because this is one of those games that you need to rely on your skills. If you're saving your skills, your SP for something, you're gonna die because it's a very difficult game. So that ability to be able to use them without it costing anything, I think that's a great move. There was another couple things that I noticed were different. Like for one, when you're playing the original Octopath Traveler, your characters usually had some sort of special ability they can do to NPCs. And not in battle, but just in everyday walking around. Like some of them could interrogate an NPC, some could steal from them, so on and so forth. But the one thing that I noticed in this so far is that at least for Hikari, which is the samurai, that's the one I started off with, you could actually do multiple of these actions. He could basically challenge someone to a duel, or he could bribe them. Now, those are the 2 interactions I came out with, but it could be more, or it could be less depending on who the character is. I don't know. The one thing I can say for sure is if you like Octopath Traveler 1, I think you're going to really love Octopath Traveler 2. Everything that I've played so far, all 3 hours, were just fantastic, and it reminded me of Octopath Traveler 1 and how well those stories are developed. And so to continue on with these stories that I've been playing so far, the story of Hikari is very good. It's one of 2 brothers, a younger one and an older one, and the younger one is not nearly as combat savvy as his older brother, but his father, the king, decides that the younger one should be the next king. And as the king feels like he's gonna die soon, he decides to go ahead and pass that out. But the older brother is so upset by this that he actually has plans to kill his younger brother, and he ends up burning the entire city down, including residential homes. The king himself was trapped in the fires, and all that's left is the older brother and his newfound army. So I want to continue on with that. I want to find out what happens. So I'm really excited to continue playing Octopath Traveler 2, and I think the demo is definitely worth at least checking out. But if you have any inkling that you're going to want the game, you're probably still going to want the game after playing the demo. It just might make you want to play it sooner. Now, I want to talk just briefly on the Direct. Now, honestly, there's a ton of other channels who are going to do much better coverage of each and everything and break down different stuff. And I even think like JP at Good Talk HQ should do some sort of like Direct wrap-up. I think he would be awesome at that. That's like his style of compiling lists of games and, giving a brief explanation of them. I think that would be awesome. But anyway, I just want to talk about like some high points for me. And honestly, if I don't talk about something that you love, it's probably just because I'm trying to hurry through this video. The first thing though is Deca Police. That one came out of nowhere and that one looks really cool. I'm pretty excited about that one. Depending on how it plays out. Now for me, it really came off like maybe some sort of successor to Astral Chain, like a spiritual successor. Obviously, Astral Chain 2 is going to come out at some point, but I'm just saying like it reminded me of that realm. And I know it's from Level 5 Games, who have a pretty good track record of doing some good stuff. At first, I actually thought it was Platinum Games, so I was pretty excited about that. And I believe the game is called Atira Collection. That one looks really cool as well. I think it's all three of them, Atira. They're like dungeon crawlers, which I've been playing a certain one for a review coming up very, very soon. And I've really gotten into that style of gameplay. It's really cool, so I'm definitely gonna pick that up when it comes out. Of course, I have to talk about the fact that they just dropped Metroid Prime, which is awesome. I've been playing that, getting ready to do a review for that as well. Only about an hour or so in. I've been busy, as you can imagine, and that game's beautiful. Honestly, I think there's gonna be a number of people who buy it digitally and then go buy it physically. I probably won't be one of them. I just picked it up digitally. I like Metroid, but I don't love Metroid, so it's a good pickup. But for me, the big discussion has to come around the fact that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance came out. Now, if you're one of those people who only pays for the $20 a year subscription, you still get Game Boy now. And I understand like the first drops were okay. I mean, Zelda Link's Awakening DX looks pretty cool. And it's a cool little addition. And same with Alone in the Dark. I've heard really good things about it. But you guys also get like the Pokemon trading card game, which is incredibly hard to find. And you also get like Story of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, I believe are the names. I know I'm a Legend of Zelda fan, I should know, but I'm really trying to fly through this. And then for all of us who pay that exorbitant amount of money for Nintendo Online subscription plus whatever, we're finally given something that is maybe matched the value of the cost of that, as we also get Game Boy Advance. And starting off with that, I'll be honest, I've been playing a ton of Minish Cap. That has really ruined a lot of the other work I should be doing right now, but I couldn't help it. I love it. You got Mario and Luigi Superstars, which is a really great game. It's like one of my wife's favorite games. And we got to look forward to Fire Emblem and Golden Sun, and hopefully these games actually drop within like the next calendar year. I don't know. I'm hoping sooner, but knowing Nintendo, it's like one game a month. There was so much more in the Direct that I should cover, but honestly, the one thing that I really enjoyed about it was the fact that it wasn't like that game of, come on, wait, finally it'll come out, delayed, wait. No, it's just like, hey, it's right here. You can play it right now. And that was kind of the theme for the entire thing, which I really appreciated. On to the sale of the week, and I've got to talk about two games here. One in which I haven't played that much of, but my wife actually beat, and she really enjoyed it, and that game is called Far. Now, typically I think it's $14.99, but right now it's like, I think it was $2 or $3. It's a really fun little side-scrolling game. It's one of those where you want to figure out what's happening to the world. You're not sure where you're at or why it's so desolate and destroyed. You have this ship that you have to maintain, and you have to continue doing little tasks to keep it full. And every now and then you'll then reach little puzzles to try to figure out how to get your ship going on. Now, I think it's a really fun game and really interesting game. Kind of reminds me of a little bit more of like a laid-back version of like Inside. You know, with that game, you had to worry about dying all the time. This one, not so much, but it does have a lot of suspense to it, and it definitely has like a lot of wonderment. You really want to explore and find out more and more, and you want to know what happened in this world. And finally, my sale of the week game is Pine. This is a very interesting game that when it dropped, it was bad. Like, it was really bad. But this dev team went to work and actually made this game fairly accessible now. Like, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it has, it's gonna perform just exactly how you want it. No, I've had some lag, I've had some slowdown. I don't love the combat. It's a little clunky for me, a little janky, but it still works. Like, I haven't actually died because of combat. But honestly, it's not as fluid as it could be. The thing is, though, is this game right now is $4.99, and typically it's $24.99, which is one hell of a deal. When you play it, you're gonna think you're stepping into kind of a Breath of the Wild type world, as you take on the role of Hugh, who is living in a world where animals essentially essentially evolved past humans. Like, they have the brain capacity that we do, as well as the know-how, and of course those God-given physical attributes that are terrifying about animals. So humans are the weak ones. They're the ones who are fragile and need to hide and scurry away. And you're kind of in this little mountain area until some things happen, and you're then forced to confront all of these other different tribes of animals. And you gotta kind of work with them, negotiate with them, you gotta make friends with them. Don't do the thing I did and the first one you see, go and kill it, because that's not a good idea. And you're gonna end up having to pay for that one way or another. But it's really cool to just explore this land, and you're trying to find a place for your fellow human beings to live now. As you're going through this, you see that this is a gigantic Civil War tasked world where everyone is fighting for resources, and it's kind of interesting because even when you're out and around, you'll see other tribes members, and they're just like running around collecting resources. They're actually collecting them from you. You have to kind of take them before they do. And it's all just to keep life going. So you can understand the war that is going on and why it's going on. But there's so much more to this game, and it's really fun. It's huge. So the fact that this dev team was able to come back and do what they've done with it is pretty awesome. But that's my recommendations for Sales of the Week video. That is my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct and my review of the Octopath Traveler 2 demo. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. I've got more work to do. Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.